Hey guys, how we doing? CryptoInsightUK here, bringing you back another YouTube video. So today I've got to again breathe caution. We were in a Bitcoin short yesterday. If you're in my free Telegram group, go and check that out. We closed the Bitcoin short at a break even because I brought my stop loss down to break even in case we had a squeeze overnight when I couldn't monitor it. And actually again this morning, I entered that short at a much better price than what I originally was in at. Originally, I actually got in the short here, and then I just entered the short literally like at the top of this range. I still feel like Bitcoin's coming down in the short term, and I'm going to use this video to explain why. But then I also feel like alts are going to break out, which is like quite contradictory. Yes, obviously we know alts can break out when Bitcoin comes down as capital rotates, but it's not the way I want to see alts break out. I want to see alts break out when Bitcoin's expanding, so all the market caps in crypto can expand together and we can push on towards all-time highs and everything. But things could change, and I'm going to end this video to tell, like, in a way that I'm going to show you that I'm actually really bullish. I just want to break down a few things. So, Bitcoin, short term. I'm going to talk about a tweet that I've just made, and it's the best way. I think that we're at the top of the range for Bitcoin. There's a lot of untapped liquidity and stop losses below this area. If we start to lose this sort of level here, we'll probably have the range, maybe even lower towards this entry point that I've been discussing here. If we look on trading different, there is a lot of liquidity on trading different. I did say there is a possibility that we come up here and sweep this liquidity first. These are people shorting, get rid of them and then come down. I have a tight stop loss on my position, just in case we do something like that. Hopefully I've tagged the top of the range here with the short. That'd be great. It's not often that you get to tag the exact top of the range, so I'm not going to think that I have because it's quite a hard thing to do. There is potential that we squeeze up into this zone here before coming down, like a deviation like we did here, and then we come down for a further pullback. That's my potential thinking right now. Why do I think that? Well, there's a lot of open interest on Bitcoin. Funding is actually positive, as we see on this chart here. So there's open interest building up. This is Velo. There's open interest building up. Look, as you can see, it's on 5 minute. Funding is massively green. A lot of people in spot position, in leverage positions as the premium is high. So they're the indicators for Bitcoin. I've spoken about the liquidity, and then we also have one of the things I wanted to point out is this S&P looks a bit weak as we get towards all-time highs. Like, there's not a lot of momentum behind it. It's going to take it on the daily here. And there's not much momentum behind the S&P as we get into those all-time high levels. I was using this S&P chart to draw on. As you see, last time we were at these all-time high levels, momentum was surging. As we got up here, it feels like momentum's falling with yesterday's close. Just as we get to the all-time high region. At the same time, the DXY has been showing weakness for so long. We're actually oversold on the DXY, so it does look like short term we could get some sort of bounce. When does that come? Again, I don't know. Is there enough legs in the DXY to come down further that Bitcoin can squeeze up? Or like, is this going to be the time when the DXY like craps to bed, shits out of this zone and Bitcoin rips? Like that's the other end of the spectrum. Like, we could see that. But when we're in a range, you have to trade the range. Like, look how long we've been in this range for. I would expect the DXY at least to have a short-term bounce in this position, unless we're going to completely crash through that range and we go into a raging bull market everywhere. That's potential. But Bitcoin's at the top of the range. S&P is at the top of its range. DXY is at the bottom of its range. So you would expect the DXY to bounce, S&P to pull back, Bitcoin to pull back. And today, as I explained in this post here, from Tony Greer and Jared Dillian, they talked about yesterday that today is actually Jackson Hole, which is where loads of bankers around the world go and meet, like Jerome Powell. Central bankers from other countries as well come and meet Jerome Powell. They talk about monetary policy and what's going on. Powell's been hawkish for basically the last year and a half, and what they basically said in their podcast yesterday, which I do recommend going to check out. Why would he throw it all away now and become more dovish just before he starts his rate cut cycle when the markets are basically doing everything for him? As in, like, the dollar's obviously weakened, etc. Rates are coming down, so like, why would he Why would he go super hawkish now and when inflation may or may not be completely stamped out? So that's an issue. That's one of the thoughts. And they also said that we're pricing in like 1.4 rate cuts in September, and they expressed in their content that how can we have 1.4 rate cuts? They don't think, as Jerome Powell's hawkish, that they will do any more than one rate cut of 25 basis points. That means the market's overpricing cuts, and that we basically pricing in too much liquidity, and that could lead to, again, a pullback. But this doesn't mean that's my long-term thesis. My long-term thesis is that the Fed, the Treasury, the USA in general are waiting for some sort of pullback so they can give the green light to all the liquidity that Arthur Hayes talks about in his article, where he talks about between $500 billion and $4.8 trillion on the sidelines ready to come in. So I think we need a pullback to get that. So it's almost like the pullback that is going to be the cannon that is going to send us into a huge bull market that I hope. So for Bitcoin specifically, I'm looking for a pullback, like I've written a lot of times, into this zone that says entry here. It'd be awesome to get a pullback into that area. The 55,500. Well, I've got a few positions, bids open at 55.8. All the way down to 54.6, but as you see on Trading Different, we could come down a little bit further than that at 53.6. But then a lot of people are speculating that there's a ton of liquidity down here at 45. Could we come down here and tag that before we shoot up for Bitcoin? Absolutely possible. Yes, I want to say that is absolutely possible. So I don't want that to happen. I think that could be quite dangerous for markets, but I'm just going to say that it is possible, and just something to keep in mind. So with that being said, I actually do think alts look pretty good, and I find that really hard to say. Like, look at XRP on the 4 hour. This thing looks like it's ready to absolutely burst up to the upside, which is the opposite of what I feel about Bitcoin. And a few other alts that look good, like Arve's been popping off recently. Let's have a look at Arve. Look, he's absolutely sending it, and that hit the take profit of a trade that I had in a while ago that I actually got stopped out of now, unfortunately. But that would have been a huge trade. I was in about there. Would have been like a 70% trade. But alts are starting to look good. Like gaming tokens have been popping the last few days. Like we've seen Wilder World come up off its bottom. We saw, I think AVAX obviously is quite hot in the gaming zone, in the gaming area, has had quite a spike up. So TLM had a bit of a spike up too. So, and CRV, obviously I've talked about this too. Cred brought my attention to this Credible Crypto, and structurally looks pretty good. A lot of alts look pretty good right now. Obviously Flare's up 8% on the day. It's been accumulating, it's trying to get out of this range. Then we're going to look at XRP versus Bitcoin and XRP against Ethereum. And I just think that alts look good. XRP's been struggling to break this area against Bitcoin. We were holding this support for a while. We fell back down, touched this lower, weaker support, and now are battling the bottom of this support again. And XRP against Ethereum has had a bit of a pullback off the resistance that we were battling. But guys, as I said, like it does look bullish for alts. I feel like we are bullish for alts here. XRP maybe pull back a little bit against Ethereum before sending it, but that would again suggest that Ethereum's going to perform pretty well, or XRP is going to perform badly. And I actually think XRP is going to perform pretty well. So that's where I stand. Like I feel like people aren't bullish enough. If we look on the monthly time frame, like this is XRP against Bitcoin on the monthly. If we can get that close above this white line here, the RSI turns up, which is what it would do. If we just get like a little push further against Bitcoin, I think we're about to, like, it's basically spelling that we're about to send it for XRP. So that's what I'm looking for. And I think a lot of alts look similar. We're seeing Tron break out. I've not actually checked Tron today. Let's check it live. Let's have a live reaction here on Tron, although we are obviously on the monthly time frame here. Tron is looking all right. We're getting into that overbought area, and that is normally when, especially on the monthly, when crypto start to send it. It's had a bit of a pullback in the last few days, but like it's not an awful pullback. It's a bit of a back test. These sort of things are going to happen. We're battling the all-time highs. Like once you get that breakthrough is when things start to absolutely send. So let's see if we get that for Tron now, or is this just like ranging for crypto still? I don't know. Today's going to be quite a big day, I think, in terms of volatility. We could get that spike up above the range that we're in for Bitcoin. We've been consolidating quite heavily here. People are identifying like an Adam and Eve pattern there, which is true. Like, it's possible we could get that, and the crypto man thinks that we could have a squeeze up to the top of the range for Bitcoin. All of this is possible. All of this is possible. I'm just saying that I personally believe, because of the factors that I've talked about in terms of macro and DXY, S&P, Jackson Hole, it's very much dependent on what comes out of the macro. Everyone's like on a knife's edge in markets in general. No one really knows what's going on because we're ranging. No one really knows what to do in a range, including myself. I'm just making my best guess. And when you're in a range, you should trade the range. That's how trading works, literally. When you're in momentum and you push in one way or another, like if the markets are going up, you should look for longs. If the market's coming down, you should look for shorts. If the market is trading sideways in a range, you should play the range. So that's how trading works. And that is what I'm doing here, essentially. And that's what I think. And I think that it makes sense in terms of the macro landscape as well. So let's see if I'm right. I might not be. If you guys have any views about that, and if you think I'm wrong, please let me know why in the comments. If you think I'm right, please let me know what you think you're going to do as well. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please share it with a friend and give it a like. It really helps out my channel. I'm just trying to grow that, as you know. But yeah, peace up, A-Town down, Crypto Insight UK would say.